All right, so I recently listened to Mo Gawdat's podcast interview on the Steven Bartlett podcast, which is the best podcast show, by the way. And he said that that was his favorite podcast episode. So you have to watch that episode and check out his podcast if you haven't already. Anyways, in this video, I thought I would just give my notes, my takeaways from this podcast episode. And just so many, I listened to it 3 days ago, and so many of the ideas are like still reverberating in my head, and already I feel like it's made a difference in my life. So definitely go check it out and get your own interpretation. But here are my personal takeaways, and this is off the top of my head. So let's get into it. So the first is, for me, is first of all, happiness is a choice. A lot of people want to believe that they're a victim to their circumstances, but no, you can choose to be happy. Some people are just addicted to being depressed. Like, I specifically remember one time I was talking to somebody who was saying that they liked being depressed. They're an artist, a painter, and they felt like they were like depression inspired them. And I don't know. So like, first of all, you got to believe it's in your control, because if you don't believe it's in your control, then like, you're not going to be able to influence it at all. So might as well just like stop listening and just, just do something else. But okay, I like this equation that he had made for happiness, where happiness equals perception of reality minus expectations. Basically, a key to happiness is just lower your expectations, just accept the world for what it is, or at least accept that which you cannot change. Anytime you encounter like a difficult situation or some thought that makes you unhappy, there's basically a flowchart of 3 steps you can go through. One, is this thought real? So for example, if you're thinking, my girlfriend, my wife doesn't love me. First step, is this thought true? Step 2, if it's true or if it's not true or whatever, like what can I do about it? Third step is, okay, if I can't do anything about it, can I accept this and just move on and continue living despite this? That's it. So anytime unhappy thought goes in your mind, just go through these 3 steps and then just get through it. Like, the worst that you can be doing is just mentally looping the same destructive thoughts in your mind over and over again. Stop that. You are the boss. Your thoughts, your voices in your head, they are not you. You are in control. You control them. And your brain, so I guess another way to think of it is, your brain literally can have multiple personalities, in the sense that they've done experiments apparently where if there's like something that connects your left and your right brain. If that thing is like destroyed or like damaged or something like that, or removed, then people with that condition will literally have multiple personalities, because like their left brain has one personality, right brain has another personality. And so, but you're not a slave to that. You control it. You're the leader. If there is a thought that's destructive and toxic, you can silence it. You can get rid of it. There's one book in particular that's really good that kind of like really hammers this concept in, called, what's the name of that book? Oh, I forget, but it's a really famous book, The Untethered Soul. Highly recommend checking that out. Really easy, like fun read. Or it's like really, just from the first chapter, it's just really easy to read. So go check it out. Even just the first chapter alone, like that will, I think that make like a big impact. But other thing with happiness is, it's a muscle. It's like training at the gym. Like it's not like you listen to one podcast and like, boom, you're happy. No, like you got to actually implement it and practice this skill. And he was saying that through his training, he's been able to make it so that when the time between when an unhappy thought enters his brain and to where it's kind of like he's gone through the 3 steps or whatever, and it's like gotten past that, it's 8 seconds. So in 8 seconds. But doesn't happen overnight. It happens through training. It's about training your brain to not be a slave to like these unhappy thoughts, and to be in control yourself, so that you can, like, it's not about preventing unhappiness altogether, because that's literally impossible. Unhappiness is actually healthy. To a certain extent, it's healthy because it indicates that something needs your attention or something needs to change. The problem is when you let this one idea just loop over and over and over again, maybe like, and then for years and years and years, like, and there were like 80-year-olds who still feel like they're unhappy because their life is controlled by some trauma that happened like 70 years ago. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, they are allowing that to happen. They're allowing that thought to destroy and damage them. And as the host said, the most dangerous thing is, like, the most dangerous kind of parasite is a thought or an idea. Another concept is that generally unhappiness comes from fixation on the past, like regret, or some fixation about the future, like anxiety. But rarely does unhappiness come from like the actual present moment. Like, unless you're like just really in physical pain, or you're about to be attacked by a lion or something, like in the present moment, you are probably like, that's where happiness generally is. Like, so happiness generally comes from experiencing something in the present moment. Rarely does happiness come from like thinking about the past or the future. So basically, to summarize, unhappiness generally comes from thinking about the past or the future, regret or anxiety, and happiness comes from experiencing the present moment. If you're listening to my voice right now, you are being present. And if you're fully like have your full attention on my voice right now, then it's impossible to be unhappy, because whatever thought is making you unhappy, if you have your full attention on my voice, then that thought is in the background and you're fully experiencing what I'm saying. And that's where happiness comes from. And I hope my voice makes you happy. No, I'm like, but you get the idea. So live in the present moment. Don't be a slave to your thoughts. Remember that you are the leader. You are not the, like, analogy from that book, The Untethered Soul. Like, you are not in the movie that you're watching. Like, you are you are the one in control. Like, you're not, yeah, so whatever. So yeah, those were my thoughts. And yeah, I mean, just quick summary. Well, actually, no, I'm not going to summarize everything, but I'll just say that I think the most important thing is realizing that you are in control. You can control happiness. You can't control everything that happens in life, but you can control your reaction. You can train yourself to not continually loop negative thoughts in your mind, and to be more rational about it. Negative thought comes, you think, is it true? If so, what can I do about it? And if I can't do anything about it, can I move on, live on despite this? And we are fed so much negative news, negative information from news, the media, social media. Like, you know, when negative things happen, like, I think it's good to be informed and know about it. But if you can't do anything about it, then you shouldn't let this thought just continue to loop in your mind and make you feel miserable. It's only useful to feel this misery to the extent that you can actually do something about it. And that's part of what I think why this Mo Gawdat, why it's so powerful coming from him, because he experienced a real tragedy in his life when his son the son died. And it was from that moment on, he dedicated his life to basically touching 1 billion lives and making the world happier, making people happier. And he could have spent the rest of his life just bitter, depressed, and thinking life is not fair, and just miserable because his son was taken away from him. But instead, he decided to use this tragedy to live the best life he can, and to make the lives of everybody else, of humanity, better, and make people happier, and make that his mission in life, and use that event to make the world a better place. So, like, which path do you want to take? You want to live the rest of your life bitter and in resentment and depressed, or using that to add value to other people's lives, and then also not just being miserable the rest of your life, but actually being happy, living your best life, and being in control. And I would imagine that probably his son would probably have wanted the father to not be depressed the rest of his life, and be happy. So yeah, that's my basically my takeaway. yeah, let me know what you thought about it. Sorry, it's like 1 a.m. right now, so I'm not as sharp with the summary. But yeah, fantastic interview. Just a fantastic, so many ideas there, so many actionable ideas. I love that he's got like an engineering mind. I mean, he was chief business officer at Google X, so he's got a very engineering, systemic, kind of logical approach to tackling this. And I've definitely already been incorporating a lot of these mindsets. But again, it's, nothing. There's no like magic pill. It's not like an overnight thing. It's like a muscle that you train. But it really is possible to be happy. I mean, if it's possible to be depressed and sad, then it's possible to be happy. And again, like, it's not about eliminating unhappiness altogether. A little bit of unhappiness is healthy if it. Because unhappiness is designed to bring attention to something or get you to change something. The problem is when you become a slave to these fleeting emotions. Be the one in control, and be the director of your life, not the slave to your impulses. So yeah, that's it. All right, till next time. Peace.